Australia is still untamed.
You know, sometimes it just feels amazing to be alive in a wild place like this.
In this series, I'm heading into the outback to explore 6 very different landscapes. From the open grasslands
There away he goes.
to the scarlet sands of the Red Desert.
The dingo, just there. Just go up and he's going to disappear. Awesome.
On the trail of the weird and wonderful animals found here and nowhere else.
Whoa, man. That's a great creature. Wasn't that beautiful? For a naturalist, this is one of the most inspirational places to visit on our entire planet.
This is my wild Australia. This week, I'm going in search of the wild creatures found in the waters of Australia's Antarctic-facing coastline.
This is the southern coast of Victoria, and in this episode I'm going to take advantage of that road. That's the Great Ocean Road. It's spectacular. It snakes its way along this incredible shoreline. Shaped as it is by the Southern Ocean, there are sheer cliffs and fantastic habitat for marine wildlife.
I'm starting in Port Phillip Bay, the entrance to Melbourne Harbour. Then driving down the Great Ocean Road, following the southern coastline to the most westerly point of Victoria. On the way, I'll be taking to the seas in search of dolphins, seals, penguins, and one of the strangest marine animals I've ever encountered.
This is Port Phillip Bay. It's the gateway to Melbourne, which is over there in the distance, a little hazy today and difficult to see. Now my journey begins in this episode crossing the bay, but there's no way I'm going to do that without taking a look at some of the astonishing wildlife that's to be found right here. Morning, Judy.
Good morning, Ray.
Can I come aboard?
You can indeed, sir.
Nice to
How
see
do you do?
Yeah, good,
So
thanks.
you're right to step there.
Judy Muir has lived and worked in the bay for over 50 years. She's promised to show me not one, but 2 unique species that are only found in the southern waters of Australia and live here in Port Phillip Bay. But to see the first of these extremely rare creatures, I'm going to have to get into the water.
I am very excited. I have the opportunity here to see, hopefully, a creature I've only ever seen in photographs. Fingers crossed, in the hope that I'm lucky.
The mysterious beings I'm seeking are most likely to be found in shallow waters near the shore amongst the kelp growing on the seabed. But shallow is a relative term, especially now that it's high tide. It won't be easy to spot, as this small creature has some of the most ornate camouflage on the planet. And there it is, the weedy sea dragon. This extraordinary fish is a relative of the seahorse. Protected by a bony armour of rings and plates, it swims slowly through the waving kelp, sucking up tiny shrimps and other crustaceans through its tube-like snout.
Amazing! That is an incredible creature. It just looks like a piece of dead seaweed until you get close, and then you see these little beating fins. It's fantastic. But it's very well camouflaged, and the water's quite cold.
But as I brave the cold water for a second glimpse of this unique sea dragon, something incredible happens. I'm surprised by another absolutely unique species, as they appear from nowhere to take a look at me. These are a rare bottle-nosed dolphin called Buranan. They're estimated to be only 150 individuals in the world, and 2 of them are swimming by my side. These dolphins are coastal specialists, with big flippers and flexible bodies to negotiate the shallows. I stay on the rope so that they get to choose how close they come. And they're pretty friendly.
That has to be one of the most amazing experiences on Earth, to be that close to wild dolphins. I'm lost for words, to be honest with you. It's really a magical experience. It's fantastic.
How was it?
That is just one of the most incredible things. The way they move, they've got such good contact with the water.
There's no bubbles, there's no resistance,
Nothing.
and we move through it in such an ungainly way, and there they just go through it with not a bubble till they come out, and it glistens then.
No,
It's
they are really magical creatures. Fantastic. Look at that.
As we set off across the bay, the dolphins lead the way. Buranan dolphins are territorial and live in small family groups. This pod know Judy's boat well and often turn up to play.
Well, it's a perfect day.
That's lovely. I have to thank you very much. You're going to drop me here. I haven't even got onto the Great Ocean Road, and I've already encountered so much wildlife. It's very beautiful.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Judy's put me ashore at Queenscliff, and from here it's not far to the start of the Great Ocean Road.
It's quite good to get back on land, and I'm really looking forward to the next section of my journey, which is along this, the Great Ocean Road. It's 241 kilometres long. It's a spectacular road, but it's also the world's largest war memorial. Morning, Doug. How are
Good
you?
morning.
Nice to see you.
Doug Sterling has lived all his life in the small coastal town of Lorne, and he knows why this road is a war memorial.
It was built with the idea of giving employment to the return diggers from the First World War. They worked with pick and shovel and wheelbarrows mainly.
And how long did it take them to build the road?
Well, all through about 12 or 13 years. And that was a rough road. People don't realise, you know, what it was like when they drive over it now.
Doug, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
93.
You don't. Well, you certainly don't look 93.
I don't feel it.
But you remember the day the road was open, don't you?
Oh, yes.
What was that like?
Oh, great excitement. People could travel the whole thing. Now, this meant that it was only then 3 hours to Melbourne, so it made a big difference.
I'm now heading off along the Great Ocean Road. This is the longest south-facing shoreline on the planet. Just below me, the Southern Ocean is pounding the shoreline. But despite its hostile nature, it brings in all sorts of nutrients that attract a host of marine wildlife.
Through these waters surges the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. That's the strongest current in the world. This influx brings with it marine creatures we usually associate with colder countries than Australia, like penguins. And that's my next stop, the penguin colony off the coast of Warrnambool on Middle Island.
Normally I have to take a boat to visit an island, but on this occasion it's shallow enough to wade across, and there's the problem. So can predators.
The penguins living on this island were attacked by foxes, reducing the population from 800 to just 5 birds. I'm meeting Peter Abbott and John Sutherland, who are part of the team responsible for protecting the penguins.
It's windy up here, isn't it? Okay.
They brought in guard dogs to defend the penguins. Tula and Eddie now live on the island 5 days a week, and penguin numbers have climbed back to 180. To encourage breeding, the team have built artificial nesting boxes on the island. All the penguins are microchipped so they can monitor numbers. They also weigh the birds as part of a routine health check.
I'll put my hand in and see what we can find.
These penguins are little or fairy penguins.
This is an adult male penguin,
Right.
so we'll put him in the bag there. They are quite feisty.
Isn't he feisty?
Yes.
And you're going to weigh that now?
We'll weigh that.
Yep.
1.2
1.2
kilograms.
kilograms,
So that's
yep.
excellent weight for a breeding penguin. These birds feed up to about 90 kilometres away from here, and they can dive to a depth of about 70 metres.
Amazing.
And they can only stop underwater for about 1.5 minutes.
Breeding pairs of penguins share the job of sitting on the nest.
So he's sitting on eggs, the other partner will come back and they may change over.
Maybe we'll come back this evening
Yes,
and see the
that'd be a good
changeover.
idea.
As dusk falls on Middle Island, we've assumed our penguin monitoring position.
But it's almost completely dark now. I can see the first stars twinkling overhead. And because penguins are sensitive to bright light, we've put red filters on. So that should make all the difference. I'm staking out a place where I know that they come in and come ashore. It's just a matter of sitting tight and waiting.
And here they come. They're climbing up to their nests on the top of the island.
That was fantastic. I could hear them before I saw them, and then I heard a small call from up here. Then all of a sudden, out of the surf, like a team of commandos coming ashore, they snuck into the shadows and then stealthily made their way up that little slope there. It was a wonderful thing to see. I've never seen that in my life before. That has to be a real privilege to see that take place. Quite amazing.
The locals call this the Penguin Superhighway.
Is that magical or what?
Next, I'll be braving the fierce ocean waves in search of more fabulous marine creatures. I'm in Victoria, exploring the marine world of this spectacular southern coastline.
Well, the sun has really come up and burned off the clouds. It's a beautiful day now, but it's worth remembering there's nothing now between me and Antarctica. That is the treacherous Southern Ocean. And when the weather's bad, it's this coastline that really gets hit. You can see how the force of the ocean is constantly reshaping this coastline. It's like a jagged edge poking out to the south.
By the standards of the Southern Ocean, this is mild weather, so I'm risking a voyage into the wild offshore seas in search of the marine life that thrives in deeper waters. The Southern Ocean has the strongest average winds of anywhere on Earth, and even on a fine day like today, you can see how high the swell is. Once out into deeper waters, we come across an extraordinary sight, balls of Antarctic krill, millions and millions of tiny shrimps staining the waters red. These small crustaceans are the staple diet of hundreds of different animals, from fish to birds to whales. Without krill, most of the life forms in the Antarctic would disappear. And there's an albatross guarding his lunch.
Whoa! See that gannet?
We're surrounded by Australasian gannets. They're expert fishers and are feeding on the fish attracted to this krill. As our boat struggles with the giant swell, we catch sight of some marine mammals that thrive in these dramatic conditions.
Look at this! Wow! Look at the speed of these dolphins. They're like bullets in the water. Awesome. These are common dolphins, and they're a whole different ballgame to the bottlenose dolphins that I saw when I started my journey. They're inshore specialists. The common dolphin is a whole different creature. It's an athlete. It's built for the open ocean.
Common dolphins are the wanderers of the oceans, moving very fast over great distances in search of food. They travel in huge megapods, sometimes with hundreds hunting together. Feeding on fast-moving fish like herring, anchovies and mackerel, these dolphins need all their speed to catch them.
These creatures are perfectly adapted for the harsh conditions of the open ocean.
Now you see them, now you don't.
Where have they gone? Amazing. They come and then they're gone.
Common dolphins can reach speeds of 40 kilometers an hour, and our boat just can't keep up with them. Time to turn for home.
Well, what an incredible trip that was. You could really see there how rich a marine environment this is. The krill was absolutely impressive, and the skipper reckons that's the best krill he's seen in years. And although it's only tiny, it is of course the building block of the whole marine environment. And we saw a good example of that today with the gannets, the albatross, and of course those incredible dolphins.
I'm back on the road again, following this beautiful coastline. Until I reach my final destination, Bridgewater Bay.
Well, I've come as far as I can go on the Great Ocean Road, right to the edge of Victoria.
So I'm taking to the seas for the last time on this amazing journey. This time I'm hugging the cliffs and exploring the line where land meets sea. Cape Bridgewater is made of volcanic rock and is less porous than the limestone cliffs I've passed on my journey here.
One of the things about the battering this coastline receives is you really get a wonderful view of the geology. Look at that, it's astonishing. It just shows you how the earth itself is a moving, living force. It's fairly dramatic in here. You can hear the sound of the ocean magnified by this wonderful chamber of this cave.
These caverns are the chosen home of the last of the rare marine creatures I'm here to see.
These are Australian fur seals in here.
Australian fur seals are the largest of all fur seals, famous for their big eyes and pointed snouts. Some pups have been born at this haul-out, and it's possible that Cape Bridgewater may become the only mainland breeding ground for these seals in the world. This seal here, the big one calling, that's the male, and this is his harem.
I think he's a little agitated because I was imitating his call. I could assure him I've got no interest in his hurry. See, these females had jumped off of the rock and he was concerned. He went out to gather them up and bring them back. You can't leave, he's saying. You've got to stay here.
Their streamlined shape and strong flippers make them skillful hunters. On land, they may move like slugs, but underwater, they're action heroes. We push on further round the headland of Cape Bridgewater.
We've come out of the shelter of the bay, and here you can see the power of the Southern Ocean breaking on a reef here. Can you imagine the nightmare it was for those early sailing ships that have come across the ocean? They're looking for land, they're having difficulty navigating, and then they find themselves in darkness facing something like this. It must have been a total nightmare. It is the most astonishing continent. The people, the wildlife, the nature itself is still raw and untamed. It's a land of great power and incredible opportunity.
Next time, I'll be facing the fierce creatures that live in the Red Desert.